All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the PSIA Fireside Chat. I am your host, Alan Tan, and this is the second episode of the PSIA Fireside Chat. So for tonight, we have another set of ravishing gentlemen joining us to talk about work from home. So the PSIA Fireside Chat is a series of online streaming talks where we talk about different topics that are relevant to the software industry and people who are interested about software development, life of developers, startups, and similar like that. So we're this is the second episode, and we're planning to have at least no for the initial first 12 episodes just to go through different topics. So we'll do this every week, but we'll have a break muna this Christmas season. They will start by January. So for those who has ideas on topics that we will be discussing, please feel free to send email to psia.secretariat@psia.org.ph. So we'd like to hear about your ideas, kung anong tingin yung mga relevant topics that we should be talking about. And or if you want to be a panelist, you have ideas about certain topics that are relevant at the times, we'd be happy to hear from you. So for tonight, we'll talk about work from home. So we know that the pandemic that we are experiencing now have changed the way people work, have changed if students, do their learning and practically everybody's lives. So it's been what, 6 months or longer since we had the lockdown, and let's try to analyze and understand how lives has been since then. So, yun yung magiging topic natin for tonight. No? So, we have three panelists for tonight, and we'll just go through, the discussion about working from home, what tips, what have we learned, how to make your employees more effective while working from home, how to keep their sanity, and the like. So, yun yung mga pag-uusapan natin tonight. So, I'll start off by introducing one by one with our speaker. Maybe we'll start off with you, Coach Edwin. So, our first panelist is Coach Edwin. He's a life coach. He's been doing, I guess, I'll let him explain what he does, but he has changed, different lives of different people, including me. I've done some sessions with him, and make me realize a lot of things about life, about business. Without actually telling me the answer. That's the amazing thing about what he do. So, kumusta, Coach Edwin?
Very well. Thank you so much, Alan, for inviting me. Yeah, work from home setup is a unique experience for me. I've been doing it even before the pandemic, and it was a big surprise for me to discover that my industry, coaching, training, there's a way for it to work. In fact, we've thrived during the pandemic.
Right. In
Lumawak
fact,
ang aming yeah.
right now you're working from Resto.
Yeah,
Diba?
that's
That's
why
how effective that is.
yeah, pardon the ano. I'm in between two cities, my hometown and my residence in Taguig. I visited my father yesterday, together with my brother. Yeah, and I'm in transit right now. The nomadic or the mobile lifestyle for me, I feel works well. And I'm able to do our business, conduct my services from anywhere in the world.
So just
It's
out of
just a matter.
out of curiosity,
Yeah.
are there more people getting your coaching
Yes.
during
Yes.
this time? And do you think that's
Yes.
related to the pandemic?
Um, it's probably one of the factors, but more basically, yeah. So I'd have two answers. Yes, number one, it's due to the pandemic, and number two, it's also the mindset. Once upon a time, we thought coaching needed to be face to face, as in the physical presence of
Mm,
our client.
okay.
But now we're
Okay.
able to conduct coaching online, and it has changed the game for us. And now we have clients in Malaysia,
So
Australia, Singapore, US, UK. We have clients all over the globe now.
for the benefit of our viewers, can you just briefly
Yeah,
explain like
sure.
what
Of
coaching
course.
is, what you do, and
Yeah.
yeah.
So as Alan mentioned earlier, I'm a life coach. I help people. Um, I help people improve. I help people improve their way of thinking, the way they feel about what they're doing, and thereby changing their behaviors. They change their behaviors. It's not me. Just like Alan mentioned earlier. And essentially, we help people reach for their dreams, reach for their goals, in whatever way that is. Letting go of their fears, letting go of limiting beliefs, and just empowering them to be the best person that they can be. And yun, during this pandemic, we've discovered that so many more people are, number one, wanting this kind of service because of maybe the situation in the pandemic. And number two, we realized our market is wider than Metro Manila, which
Yeah. So now you
used
can
to
do
be
it
our target.
nationwide, no? Or
Yes, it
worldwide.
used to be our worldwide. It used to be our target because we had services which used to require face-to-face interaction. Now we've broken through our own limiting beliefs. So yeah, I'll tell you more about that later.
Sige. Thank you, Coach. I'm sure you'll have a lot to share more about, working from home and your experience coaching other people. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Edwin Soriano. Our next panelist, we like to call on Mr. Rene Canlas. Hi, Rene. Rene is from Point West. You're the DPO, right? Oh, we can't hear you. Nakamute ka, Rene.
Okay, sorry about that. Yes, I am the DPO
I think
of
yan yung
Point
mga
West.
iiwasan na posisyon ng mga empleyado maging DPO.
I can tell you I did not volunteer for the job.
Oh, exactly. Right? People don't like that kind of job. I think the
But
the penalty for failing your work is imprisonment.
oo,
Hindi naman,
makukulong ka na,
'di ba?
the DPO goes to prison if he did not do his job. But typically, if he does his job but the management refuses to cooperate, it's usually the president and CEO that goes to
Okay,
prison.
okay.
Let's just make that clarification.
Yeah, that's why whenever talk to organization and then they'll ask like who will be the DPO because it's a new position, it's being required. And
Hot potato siya. Yeah.
everybody just look the other way around. Like, oh no, no way. But
Yeah, it's a hot
you're the brave guy.
it was a let's just say that I've been conditioned not to say no to Beng, our president, before.
Okay. Right. And,
Which
well,
is quite
who can say no to Bing? Who can
exactly.
say to the colonel, di ba? So, so aside from DTBO, I understand you also do in charge of the security in ano?
Yes, that was actually my first job before I got handed the DPO stint. I was the chief information security officer of Point West, and I also handle the cybersecurity services. So the goal there is to practice cybersecurity very well inside your organization, be good at it so that you can offer it as a service to your customers. So make a cost center into something that generates revenue for your organization.
So tell us about more about how Point West is coping up now.
Okay, I still remember my last day at the office, which was March 12, 2020, and I haven't been back since. So it's been almost eight months since I last saw the office, and I remember that day quite vividly. Actually, we were preparing 2 weeks before because we were already concerned about increasing number of cases of people infected with COVID. So we were monitoring international news and local news as well, and we've already notified our customers. So we were already in the last 2 weeks prior to leaving the office, we had already gotten permission from our customers to test work from home. We've actually given several teams in our company the ability to test the connection to see if they could work in that mode, so that when the decision came down that they were going to be locking down Metro Manila, all that needed to be done was to inform the people that, hey, come to the office, get your machines, bring them home, and we'll start working there. And we thought it was as simple as that. But as you know, no plan or initiative of this magnitude ever goes, as planned. There were many hitches. Connectivity wise, that was a big hitch for us. Um, Broken machines. How do you replace a machine? So there were a lot of things that we had to cope with. In my area, particularly, how do you extend security? Traditionally, when you do
Right.
security, you're looking at the four walls of your office as your castle, as the area you want to protect. Now that everybody's working from home, your perimeter has just expanded. They're now wherever you are, at home, in a restaurant, somewhere on NLEX. You're, how do you implement security that way? So we had to leverage a lot on the people, on the discipline of the people. So it's really reminding people that, hey, we've changed how we work, but the security controls still need to be in place. Certain types of behaviors. We have certain customers that are more stringent when it comes to security, when it comes to processing their data or doing work for them, and we have to implement those as best as we can. But it's a two-way street. We also go to the customer and we tell them this is the situation that we have. I always tell them that if we let our people travel to the office, they're taking more risks because they're now traveling, they're riding on buses, on trains. They may get the infection when they get to the office. I think they're safer at home. So it's really a choice of what do you do that is less risky? Do you keep them at home where they can work, they can produce, or do you allow them to travel every day where they uh, always experience the risk of getting infected while they
Right.
do?
Right. And you're still in Point West, you're still working from home, or you operate in the office,
Yes,
or
we are. Our offices are still operational, but we have a skeleton crew there. So what we do is, nabaliktad na rin in terms of DRP or disaster recovery plan. Your office is now your backup facility. Your main facility is home,
okay.
so that if for example power goes out in your area, so also the threats that we look at when we do our DRP planning, you always look at storms, you look at earthquakes, you look at coup d'etats and all of that. Now we're looking at power interruptions and internet interruptions,
Hmm.
and we having to plan accordingly. So right now that's what we told our people. The moment you can't work from home, you better tell us so that we can prepare seats for you in the office. So we've configured our office based on IATF instructions or regulations. So they're ready to receive our employees should they encounter problems working from their homes.
All right, sige. So we'll talk a bit more about that. But before that, thank you, Rene. So, and we'll move on to our third panelist, who is Mr. Kim Allen Castillo. Hi, Kim.
Yes,
How are
hello
you?
po. Doing
So,
fine.
so you're a developer, right?
Yes,
Sa
sir.
Starpoint? Anong language?
StratPoint, yes, sir. OutSystems currently. So we're
Okay.
doing web, mobile, and across all platforms. So just to give you a bit of heads up or details about on how am I doing in the IT industry. So I've been almost 4 years sa ITO industry. So it's like a BPO industry, but on a more detailed way. So and another one is currently sa StratPoint. So more than a year as a developer, so software engineer. So for a total of 5 years in the IT industry. So
Okay.
yeah,
So before OutSystems, did you do other languages?
C Sharp and Java, but that's only extra mile from the one that I've been doing. So mostly it's connecting to clients, so solving their issues, but on a higher priority. So we're taking priority incidents like walang internet dun sa specific country, so specific building, so whole building. So we're connecting those clients sa support teams to solve those issues.
Okay, and I suppose you're still working from home in Strat Point.
Yep.
May operations mo sa office niya or fully work from home?
Since pandemic po, it's work from home setup. But before the pandemic, we're on office based.
Was it difficult adjusting from going to the office and now that you fully work from home?
Yeah, but it's actually not the first time for me to work from home or have this work from home setup since from my previous work, I've been working as a critical incident manager. So we're actually not required, but we're on a work from home setup and we were just required to go to the office if there are things needed to be done by our manager or by our supervisor. So it's not actually shocking for me to work from home or do this work from home setup. So I've been coping.
Okay. So right now, what do you think are the, like, for you, the most important? Kasi previously, we used to work from home you used to work from the office, right? You have a good internet, you have free food, I guess. And you could talk to a lot of people, but now you're from home. How do you adjust from that kind of environment to just being in your home?
Actually, it's a difficult one to answer. So since kahit naman siguro nag-work na ako from home before from my previous company. So medyo nanibago pa rin since hindi siya actually madaling i-adjust since nasanay tayo na marami tayong kausap, marami tayong nasa paligid natin. So medyo mahirap na wala kang kausap. Kausapin mo lang yung computer mo, nakaharap ka lang for almost 8 hours. So it's a difficult one to adjust, but maganda rin na may kausap tulad ng families. So syempre tinatawagan time to time. So it's helping out. It's helping out really a lot. Since at least may mga kausap ka na kung medyo parang nade-depress ka kasi wala kang kausap and all. So it really helps a lot to have someone to talk to even though they're far away. But we have the means, so it's still good.
Okay. How about kasama sa bahay? May kasama ka ba? Or you live alone?
Yes po. Yep. I have with my partner for almost I think 1 year. Or
so siya lang kausap mo for the last 9 months.
Yes. And another one is our pet. It's a cat.
Akala ko another partner. Pets. So do you think, would you advise, like, if you're bored,
it's actually, it's actually a good thing to have one or at least one. Kasi for example, depressed ka na. So what do you think of doing? So ako sobrang nanggigigil dun sa pet namin. So actually pantanggal siya ng stress, as in sobrang pantanggal siya ng stress to have pet.
Okay. How about plants? Plantito ka ba?
Plants actually not advisable for us currently kasi walang masyado benta na pwede mapaglagyan sir ng plants. So pets actually. Yeah.
Okay. Sige. So that's Kim Allen from Strat Point. Now let's just continue our discussion. Maybe go back to kasi kanina si Kim mentioned about depression. Pag nade-depress ka na sa bahay. I'm curious from Coach Edwin kasi I'm sure he talks to a lot of people. Did you see an increase of like number of, I guess the answer is obvious, depressed people, and
Yeah.
how did they cope up? How do you think they should adjust, given the scenario we're
Yeah.
experiencing right now?
I was speaking. Yeah, I was speaking to a corporate client recently, a few days ago, and then I think um, uh, I just wanted to point out the client actually pointed out to us that they feel as if their employees are using the word depressed, um, parang automatically calling themselves depressed. And that was an interesting point that she raised because they don't want it to be they didn't want to use the word because it can get alarming when people claim that they are depressed when in fact what they are is sad. They're sad or they're missing their home, parang homesick or office sick. Yeah, just wanted to point that out, no? Kasi there is a clinical measure of depression, and yun. Having said that, yes, I believe there are more incidences of people who are showing symptoms of depression. And then as I was listening to Kim earlier, no, I was realizing I'm reflecting. Yeah, that's actually one of the things that the need for interaction, the need for more so what do you call it? Social interaction. That's one of the programs that is thriving for us right now. So on June 1, I started a club. It's called the 5 a.m. Club. We
Ah,
meet
okay.
we meet every day. It is based on
5 a.m.
5
Okay.
a.m. Yep, it's not for everybody. We meet every day at 5 a.m. We have some exercise, we have some meditation, we have some gratitude, and then a learning module, and some sharing, some interaction among the members. No, and then I realized, yeah, for people, because I'm not in the situation where I have limited social interaction. I actually have a very thriving social circle even during the pandemic. And then I'm realizing, yung dinescribe ni Kim kanina, I realized that's probably what many of my members are going through, na looking for more social interaction. And yeah, come to think of it, many of my members have articulated that they are thankful that they have a space where they can meet new people. I've had many members say that they joined the club deliberately, intentionally, because they want to meet new people. Which during the pandemic, it's not, there aren't many, or it's not yet at automatic. Where do you go if you want to meet new people, di ba? Noon, meron pa eh. You go to a gym or something. You join a club out there. But now, where? How do you do that? So that's
Okay.
one of the things. I feel that's one of the things that are
So
being
how many
addressed.
members now? How many people wake up at 5?
Yeah, right now we're at around 50 people who meet on a regular
Okay.
basis. Daily to
Okay.
through
I,
the past
if I
months.
join, that means I join before I go to sleep.
Yeah, baka the 4 a.m. club is just right for
4
you.
a.m.
Para you're at the tail end of your day. Yeah,
Oo.
we have some members who are saying, "Oh, gawa na tayo ng 3 a.m. club or 4 a.m. club." Yeah. So these are for early risers. Not and yeah, it's been such a thriving community. Nagkakaroon ng parang spin-offs because among the active members, you're seeing many interests coming up. We have a fitness group already na parang nagsuspin off. We had a Bible study group, and then we have a co-creators group. So it's thriving, and people are searching. People are wanting to interact with
So it seems
people.
like establishing a new norm for like
Mm,
social interaction would be helpful. Like what you just
yeah,
organized, like a regular
yeah,
schedule
yeah.
where people can go out and talk. So,
Yes,
so do you
yes,
think
yes.
would also work like in a company setting? For example, like Point West, they have thousands of employees. So
Right.
every
Yeah.
certain
Yeah,
time.
I think I know of some companies who are transitioning their employee events, their employee events into online events where
Mm.
people can play games. In November, or was it? Yeah, in November we had improv activities guided by our friend named Gabe Mercado, is the father of improv in the Philippines. So it's really being intentional about searching for for people to interact more, to express themselves more. Ayun, maybe Rene might describe later on his little hobby that he's doing. Kami, we happen to have uh, hobbies, the learning hobby that we're doing together. I did mention earlier that we have a creators club. So, iba't ibang tao, they're in front of the laptop between 6:30 to 7:30. They're in front of the laptop doing each their own hobbies. Writing, reading, singing, exercise, while in front of the laptop because they know that somebody else is doing their own thing in their own home.
Interesting.
Do it,
Interesting.
yeah.
We should do that, no? Mm.
That's we call it, we're doing things together apart. And yeah, people just gravitate towards it because I don't know. I think they're looking for companionship. They're looking for, yeah,
Yeah.
camaraderie.
Yeah. Because we're
And
not designed to be alone.
these are strangers. They're
Oo.
once upon a
Right.
time strangers, and now close na sila, even if they haven't met each other face to face. So it's an interesting dynamic.
Sige, let's go to ano, Rene. Like, I mean, because earlier you mentioned about activities, um, social activities, I guess, to keep people sane, and their right mind. What do you do in your company? What activities are you working on? Ay, naka-mute ka ulit. Ayan na. Ay, unmuted you. Ay,
Sorry. We've identified that problem early on, like because we actually given that the management group have been on kind of semi work from home for the longest. Like basically, we work anywhere. But so we knew that what our people would be experiencing once they transition to this full time. So we were very much concerned about a lot of things, not just work related, but also company well being. So what we did was every week we actually had HR conduct a survey. We asked people to come and respond and tell us how they feel.
mm,
So it's basically like a mood
right.
meter. Are you feeling happy, depressed, angry? Then they collate it, and with our corporate nurse, they look at it and they try to identify people that have been showing trending in cases where they've been showing symptoms of depression, and then they try to reach out. So I myself have been reached out to twice actually by because of the response. I'm quite candid with the responses because I think that's the only way it will work. If you try to say no, I'm fine, then it doesn't really work and nobody's gonna be able to help you. So I'm quite candid with what I'm feeling. So you're feeling stressed, you're feeling concerned about your health, concerned about work, concerned about your family. So I put that all in, and then somebody would reach out to me and talk to me, and they do it for all of the employees then. And I think that's a good thing. It makes people feel that even though they're working alone, that there's still that company behind their back that's helping them, and that we're concerned for their health and well-being. That's one. We also established what we call a Quarantalk Thursdays. So tomorrow, every Thursday at around 6 p.m., we have a show which is usually hosted by people from learning and development and HR. And then we tackle different topics or we do performance. I actually showcased miniature figure painting in one of the sessions that we had. So it's really more of, and like Coach Edwin said, it's actually good for people to express themselves. We want to express ourselves, but we also want people to see us, and we want to get that affirmation of as we express ourselves. So I originally I was apprehensive about doing that. A grown man, painting small figures, but um, what actually surprised me was how much I look forward to the event, to the activity, and how much enjoyment I got out of it. So that was for me a realization for myself that it wasn't
But
exactly what it was
are there
before.
like new activities that you came up with that you're doing now that you weren't doing before naisip nyo lang dahil may pandemic na?
On a personal level, oo. Yun, aside from the painting, I got into model building. Yung kumbaga related activity siya. And you were trying to find community. So on Facebook, I became a member of several new groups I never thought I'd be a member of. I'd even joined the anonymous karaoke club.
Ayun,
Uh,
karaoke.
yeah, oo. So parang never in my life.
Bakit anonymous? Meron kang
Um,
anonymous, no?
Malakas ang loob ko pag di ka nila kilala. Pag pumiyok ka, hindi ka nila kilala. So yun, yung things you never thought you'd be doing, you find yourself, okay, you're doing it, and it's okay, and probably I've been asking myself that question, why Rene, why are you doing this? And I know if I don't do this, I'll go mad, I'll go crazy, I'll go insane, I'll go bored. So it's really up to us to try and find new activities. I'm actually quite concerned about people in my life, in my circle, both family and at home, who I think haven't realized that yet, that they need to get up, do something. Otherwise, it's just gonna spiral down and turn into depression.
In our case kasi on the company level, we used to do like monthly activities. Right now we changed that a bit na parang I think bi-weekly, tapos mga games, we just join in a Zoom channel and then we play certain games, mga very, very simple games for pick one word, may mga prizes lang, or just to to have social interaction. Are
We
there
have that as well.
yeah,
We have that as well, pero it's really more governed by the project teams. So we give the
mga
project team leeway on what they're doing. We just want them to copy HR and learning development. If it's something like, for example, oh, we found this interesting and it was well received, then it's something that these teams could share with other parts of the organization, and maybe it's something that other people can share. But that 5 o'clock club that Coach Edwin shared is something that's it's a good idea for me, something we might want to explore. So thank you very much for sharing that. It's probably that's what I miss most about the social interactions in Point West. Before, we had what we call social clubs. Doesn't matter if you're interested in photography, dancing, singing. There's a club for you at Point West you can join. They're self-organizing. They have so we kind of fell apart because people were still figuring out how to do work. But I think it's high time we start looking at reestablishing those social activities again and trying to find how do you do it online. So thank you very much for that idea, Coach Edwin.
Coach Edwin, what's the name of the group, so we can have other attendees?
Yeah, it's called Rise Up the 5 a.m. Club.
Rise Up the 5
Rise Up
a.m.
the
Club. Ayan, guys,
Yeah.
join kayo
I'll, co-
para mapilitan kayong
I'll
gumising ng
comment
5
it
a.m.
on the SIA. Yep, cut it out.
Sige. Thank you, Rene. So another question, maybe this one goes to Kim. How's your productivity or your performance? Has it improved or has it dropped, or what's the effect in terms of your, I guess, your motivation, your commitment, your focus? Has there been any change?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yep. Okay. So it's a positive and a negative one. So the first one is negative. So sorry.
Wala. Okay.
Maybe you should pass
Alright.
off the question
It will.
to
Yeah, maybe I should pass that back to you. Like maybe in your team members, how in terms of productivity. Because I think, I mean, just as an owner, as a business person, what I'm really concerned about is, how this work from home is affecting the productivity and my billable, and the productivity of the people, and how it affects the P&L. So what have you experienced so far?
I mean, for some of our teams, we already established, productivity metrics, and it's just a matter of monitoring, making sure that the deliverables are submitted on time and at the quality that the client expects. So that was the first thing we were measuring, especially for our BPO teams, is the quality. Because what we actually found was that for the most part, the qualities were maintained, and in some cases they improved. So when we took a deep dive into that, we found that again, people were spending more time at work and they weren't as, you know they weren't rushing out of the door at 5 o'clock because they didn't have to travel 2 hours to get
Right.
to get to their homes and vice versa. So they were more than okay with using that time to deliver better work or deliver more work.
So
So
did
from
you
a
observe the
productive
numbers going up, the
yeah,
product
for some
metrics?
things we observed the numbers, especially during the early days, because I think a lot of them were kind of relieved that they were being forced to travel. So as a kind of showing of their gratitude, they delivered more work. Um, there's also and I've been a firm believer in result oriented work culture. So um, I for my teams, I
Mm,
want to focus on what they need to deliver. So for me, it's not I'm standing behind your back watching you work. It's really more of I know how you work. I know how you can deliver. You just need to keep it up, or you just need to meet expectations. When you make a commitment to me, I expect that you are able to meet that commitment. And if there are any problems, you'd inform me. So I guess the management styles will differ, but my management style is more of I'm output based. I focus on the deliverables, and that has worked for me very well because I don't have to worry about what are my guys doing as long as I know I've given them enough work and that they're delivering the work as expected. I have no problems with that.
okay. And then you mentioned na the productivity went up at first. So does
Mhm.
that mean it went down after?
It stabilized. It went down to normal. I wouldn't say it went down to
Ah,
below what we were
okay.
expecting. It kind of normalized. So there was an initial surge of, I guess it was a new thing. People were enamored with it. People were doing it. But as it now started to become routine and started to become boring, then it went down. Um, and it's good that we have metrics that we share to our people so that they
Right.
know if they're meeting. So I think that's a very important thing to show your people. They need to
Oh,
know how you're doing in terms of productivity. If that's a secret you keep until the first, second, third, fourth quarter, then it's too late to do anything. You share it
yep.
with them so that they know, okay, you're not meeting the grade, you need to step up. Or if you're consistently meeting a point and you want them to excel, then at least they know from what point they need to move up or to advance. So if they don't know that, they don't know how they're doing, you're not giving them timely feedback, then how can you expect them to improve on their own?
Okay. Sige. So metrics is important to keep the productivity. No? And actually, in our case, we also notice an increase in productivity. The good thing is, after it increased, it remained there until now. So I think primarily it's because of the less travel. I'm just concerned if we'll actually be able to sustain it. Kasi even before pandemic, we had some employees working from home, and the experience is it's good at the start, right? Like you mentioned, siyempre papabiro sila working from home sila. Pero eventually, once they're used to um, working from home, nag-slack off din eh. Kasi wala naman nagbabantay eh. Until, we're able to establish the metrics. So after we establish the metrics, we know what they're being measured. So far, okay naman. Tumaas siya actually. So it's working well for us. So
That's
balikan natin si Kim about the negative impact. May kinikwento ko eh. Parang, so ano ba nangyari sa productivity mo after?
Yes, sir. I don't think my internet connectivity is good previously. So, kanina medyo nawala-wala. I don't know why. But yeah, talking about productivity. So, it's good for us. So, nabanggit nyo rin, sir, kanina na it's also about getting used to it. So, the setup, the work from home setup, and So what we focused more is Google Meet calls, so or Skype calls. So for the collaboration, so it really helped us boost our productivity. So we're currently on a fast pace. So at times or most of the times, we're ahead of the schedule. So we're ahead of the deadlines. So it's one of the reasons why is the collaboration with all the members of the team. So it really helped us to do or to finish our workloads faster and more efficient. So
How, how
it's a
often do
good
you
thing.
have do you have these calls?
It's actually a daily. We have a daily stand-up calls. We call it a DSM. So we have a daily at morning. So other teams have other calls. Another call at afternoon. So before.
Hmm.
So to provide updates for the workloads that we did before the start of the day, and things that we did yesterday. So we do that every day for giving updates to all the members of the team.
Pero in terms of collaboration, may nawala ba? Kasi I mean, like you mentioned earlier, di ba? If you're in the office, you talk to somebody. So, ba, may
Mhm.
di ka maintindihan sa requirements, katabi mo lang, you just ask him around. But now it's online. Do you still do that, or you wait for the next day to have the call and ask the question?
I know we provide we also have group chats on Skype. So in case someone has a question, so just need hey, I have a question on this specific story or specific issue. Can I need someone to talk to or to discuss it with. So just one message away. But it medyo
Pero
nag
totoo ba? I mean, lahat ba ganun? I mean, I know some developers, they're just go too quiet. They won't ask question. Kasi baka mapahiya sila. Ayaw nilang alam. Ayaw nilang paalam na hindi nila alam. So they'll wait until somebody asks them, right? I mean, have you seen similar or no?
there's siguro sometimes, sir, na merong misunderstanding. So, since hindi masyado nakipag-collaborate, since there are times na may ganon, so nagkakaroon ng issue at the end. But there is also a meeting that we have. It's what they call this. It's like a meeting after the sprint. So after 2 weeks of working on to something, so meron
Retrospective.
kaming yeah, retrospective. That's the one, sir. So we have that one to discuss the mistakes that we've made and to correct it in the next or in the future sprints. So that's what we do for the mistakes that we
Okay.
made.
Okay. Yeah. Um, all right. Actually, let's move on. Thank you, Kim. The other topics I'd be in. Actually, we have some comments here.
Yeah, there's a
Rene, ano raw
question.
yung pinipaint mo?
I paint miniature figures. So, hindi naman ako yung I don't go out and buy expensive figures just to paint them. I kind of look for old figures, old toys, some that are unpainted by nature, and I try to, practice my skills on those. So, you can actually do it on the cheap. You don't have to, I know how much they cost when you go to the mall, you go to neutral grounds and you buy them. It's really very expensive. And you don't have to go that route. You can actually find a lot of on the second-hand market, and then you can just practice your skills. And when you're good enough, you get to pick and choose whatever it is you want to paint, and then you spend on that.
Sige. Maybe this other question, maybe kay Coach Edwin. No? So I don't know from the people you've interacted with, but did you know? The question is, did anyone experience change of psychological distance among team members when working from home? Continued for such a long time. I think this is similar to what I was expressing earlier, di ba? Na if you don't see people around, your tendency is not to chat. So
Yeah,
have you
yeah.
seen anything?
Yeah. What? I totally agree. I've seen some companies express similar to what you've expressed, Alan. Na parang people are disconnected from each other. Um, I've recommended this, and some companies have applied it also. Um, it came from our club also, the 5 a.m. club, where we had the 1 hour quiet time, kanya-kanyang gawa, but everybody's present in front of the laptop. So how other companies have applied that is within the day they have like a 2 hour window where people are working online on camera, and then they are available for each other during that window. So, magkaiba ng dynamics yung ginagawa namin in the club. Sa amin, walang pansinan ng 1 hour. You're just seeing that everybody else is doing their work. Dun sa isang company who adopted what we were doing, that is the window for interaction. So yes, I'm doing my work here, but if you need to speak with me, kumbaga parang naka-open yung door ko, office door.
So
That's
that
what
means,
it looks like.
aside from getting connected, you turn on your video.
Yes. So naka-on yung video, and then anybody can chat with you if there's any question, any help needed. Tapos nakakapag-breakout room sila. Okay, let's discuss that in a... Okay. I used to work in Intel. And within our team, we had a Intel the chipmaker. And within our team, we had this guideline na kung maabot na ng 5 or 7 exchanges yung email, stop emailing, hop on a call.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
You know these email threads now, but maabot ng 26,
Tapos ang dami
50.
naka-CC, no?
Hindi mo naman, ang dami pa naka-CC. So, it becomes very unproductive in those cases. And I know of many companies who have this habit of carbon copying everybody for whatever reasons these are. Ayan. Sa amin, we've learned na, you know what? Hop on a call. Get your voice across, talk about it within 5 minutes, it's resolved. Kasi yung naghihintayan kayo ng email. So, that's one of the things that I've been applying also with our team. Yun, we hop on a call, whether one-on-one
that's
or...
actually a very good suggestion, where you have schedule and everyone's online. I tried this also at the start. Yung iba, ayaw mag-on ng video kasi hindi pa yata sila naliligo.
Yeah.
So maybe I should have forced them more, like, make sure maligo kayo bago kayo mag-online, di ba? Kaysa tayo yung buhok. But I think that's one reason. Sometimes we have call and people don't want to turn on their video kasi nakasando lang.
There's a drop in interaction, and I'll just use the word intimacy. Yung parang yung kausap mo not ready to show himself or herself. Sa amin, in our company, almost all our meetings, cameras on. It's our default. I think it's also a culture. Kasi ganun ako nag-umpisa eh. So everybody assumed that every meeting it's going to be that way. And people get ready for it.
Okay. Interesting.
I think it's cultural.
So you have to get ready. I mean, you have to, dress up and make sure you're ready.
Yes. Yes. That's what it's like. Even in our club, at 5 a.m., most people are presentable.
So wala naka-pajama.
We've established. Minsan may mga pumapasok na nakasando, men na nakasando. We've created a culture na get dressed kasi it's a business, kumbaga it's a business meeting.
So that's a good advice.
Yeah. Yep.
Sige. Next one, I'm actually interested knowing about, I don't know if maybe Pointwest or Strandpoint have new hires during the pandemic, and how did you go through it? Kasi, di ba, before the onboarding, you physical, you give them the IDs, you give them the equipment and stuff. But now that it's online, how do you onboard employees? If you have, kasi kami konti lang but I don't know in your company. Anyone?
Yeah, we did. We actually conducted a boot camp during lockdown. So
Training.
nag-training kami. So each team kasi I mean, we all had the roles before the pandemic. So, kineri over lang, each team was given the task of how do you reorganize the work that you do? How do you still become effective and relevant during the pandemic. So learning and development was in charge of figuring out ways for. So we looked at a lot of like Google Classroom, a lot of learning tools. We leveraged Pluralsight, for example, for self-paced learning. In terms of onboarding, we still follow the process because that process has been approved by our clients. Like for example, doing background checks. It's just more difficult to do them now yourself, so you have to rely on partners to do a lot of the legwork for you. But we still review the results, and we still and when it comes to onboarding, we still conduct our, for example, our ISMS awareness seminars, our privacy trainings. We conduct them online, but I think we can thank our learning and development group for being able to establish a system that allows our people to learn, and we get feedback on how they learn immediately. So they have
So
very
you were
high.
able to onboard new employees without them physically being in the office.
Yes, yes. All they need to, we actually send them the computer to their homes, and then we
Mm.
send the accounts over to their personal email addresses. Once they've already signed and they've gotten their corporate accounts, then we walk them through the onboarding process. I still conduct the seminars, the privacy seminars for these people. It's just that, before you were expecting or you excited to see new faces. Now you're just seeing them on camera. So I get Coach Edwin's point where it's nice to be able to see people, especially for the first time. Um, it was a particular, and actually it was a particular concern for my group. I needed to onboard new people for my group, and since my group handles security, so that question kept coming up in my mind. How do you trust somebody you've never seen before, and you give them
Oo nga.
things that are sensitive in nature, the keys to the kingdom, so to speak? Um, you just have to validate. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm still in the middle of onboarding that resource, and I validate at every turn, and I make sure that I read all of the background reports. I try to get an insight into how this person works, and um, basically, is he a good person? So that's my first concern. Is he somebody I can trust? Competence, I believe, is something you can learn if you have the right mindset. So for me, even if I would choose a person that had integrity first, and I would just choose to teach this person what he needs to do the job.
Okay. Kim, sa inyo, how do you do training? Like knowledge, new knowledge, learning new programming, like at this time?
Yeah, yes, sir. We actually have different teams. So depending on what capability you have. So the team itself is also helping out. Or we also have um, actually a website. So from StratPoint that we have all the trainings needed for you to be onboarded on that specific
Mm.
capability. So for example, for C Sharp or Node.js. So those we have trainings from that website to for you to train and also
Right.
to learn more about it. So we also have the learning and development team. So we have brown bag sessions to discuss more about what do you want specifically. For example, money related, etc. So yeah, I'm
So I guess
commending.
there's actually an advantage us being in IT because naturally we do a lot of things online. So it sounds
Yes, sir.
like, in training and development, that's something we already used to do online. So now that
Mhm.
we're remote, minimal lang yung change. But coach, have you seen in other industry, like, I don't know, that's not IT, like how they cope up with this?
Yeah, interestingly, kasi kami ang default platform namin is Zoom. And when I train community members on a certain skill, for instance, I gave a training on facilitating meetings online, facilitating workshops online. It's so convenient for us to just record the training, and then it becomes the material
Right.
for future trainings of others. Our team has been very deliberate about doing videos, making videos making PowerPoint presentations. Actually, Google Slides, which becomes collaborative, which becomes a live document, which can be passed on, improved on. Anything that we learn later on, we're able to input it into the same file. So that's how we're a very agile, we're a very lean organization. So that's what we've been doing. The other dynamic that's so interesting now is that we've been training people to train other people.
Mhm.
So, um, yung last week lang natutunan niya yung isang skill, we
Siya na
start
yung nagtuturo.
asking, yeah. So I feel that learning is so much faster
Oh, okay.
when you empower the person. Sige, this is something that the IT industry might not do themselves. Maybe there's a version of it that you might do, but I allow my team to make mistakes, and I tell them we're all learning. It's a very new thing
Oh,
that we're doing.
believe me, that's
Uh,
very common for us also.
Either right, ayan. So I allow my team to make mistakes, and then I tell them we're all learning, and then ayan. Now that we've learned, then we can make an improvement on how we're doing things.
Okay. We have
I
a
also
few
give,
minutes left.
yeah.
But maybe just to end, how do you think life will be like next year and moving forward? Are we going to go back to where we were, or uh, things will retain, right? So if things will retain, what should we anticipate, and what should be what how should we adjust our lives? Maybe since ikaw na coach, you start
Yeah,
off.
sure. Ako, in a very general way, I feel that it is more empowering, more helpful for people to think that this is going to go on for 2 more years, at least. What does this mean? This means, you know what? Settle down and figure it out. uh, there is a natural yearning to go back to what was earlier this year, but that yearning is also holding people back from being creative today, being
Mm,
creative with
true.
what we have now. It's like having one foot in the past and trying to move forward, and oops, sorry, we'll need to let go of things from the past and look forward na to the future. There are so many things that will not go back to what it was before. Commerce is one of them. The use of delivery, online payments, GCash, smart money, etc., Paymaya. Even the way we interact with each other. Noon client call, you're required to be face to face.
Be there. Yeah.
That hindi na tayo babalik doon. Well, maybe to
True.
a certain extent it will, but we've already proven uh, hey, it already works that we coordinate, we start a project without being physically present in one room. Why will we go back to that, if any? There's less it's a less compelling it's less compelling to need to gather physically because we've shown each other that we can work virtually. So I think it's just a really more empowering mindset to think, you know what, let's make do with what we have. Let's produce the value that we can through our creativity, because we need to create value for each other. That's what we owe our countrymen who are not able to use, example, technology to create livelihood. Tayo kaya natin eh. It is, what's the word for it? It's our role to create value despite the pandemic. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Coach. Ikaw, Kim, like, what do you think? Like, next year, what are what do you think you'll be doing? Similar ba ngayon, or in-anticipate mo, or excited ka nang bumalik sa office, or nakita mo tutuloy-tuloy itong ginagawa mo ngayon, and how are you adjusting your habit, your schedule, with all of this?
Siguro, sir, what I think is actually the team or the company is planning to. It still depends on the status next year. So, but the team is already planning on setting up the rooms at the office. So, in case someone needed to go to the office and there are problems with internet connections from their homes, so they can go to the office and work there. So, we already set up a few things like before entering the premises, you need to fill out a form, and then it depends on the admin if they will approve it or not, depending on what they call this, the symptoms that you have before entering. So I can see myself as working still on the setup, work from home, but it also depends on next year. So what I can see is I think it will still go as it is. So still waiting for the updates from our government. But yeah,
Okay. And lastly, Rene, what's your prediction? Ano yung tingin mo magiging buhay next
I
year?
think Coach Edwin said it very well. I have nothing to add except there's a silver lining to what's been happening. We've been given an opportunity to grow, and nothing spurs growth more than adversity. So,
Mm.
and tama rin si Coach Edwin na if you have that longing to go back to the way things were, you're not growing. Di ba? Growing is really accepting what they are, making the best of the situation, moving forward with your life, and that's what I plan to do.
All right. Okay. So, thank you, gentlemen. Unfortunately, we have to end this very interesting discussion, but I hope a lot of our viewers have learned a lot from tonight's session.
I was
Sige.
I was hoping to hear Rene do his karaoke
Woo,
Sa
sample,
next episode daw,
sample.
kakanta si Rene.
or Alan. Alan
Oh,
was supposed to do some TikTok videos for
just
us.
follow me on my Facebook. I have some crazy stuff there. Pagka may lockdown kasi, those are the things that will keep you sane. Otherwise, masiraan ka talaga ng bait. Anyway, yeah, it's a very interesting discussion. I've learned a lot myself. I hope our viewers did as well. It's a very good realization from what we've experienced, and understanding that things it will take a long time before we go back to where we were. Gives us the opportunity to adapt and be more productive and sabi nga ni Coach Edwin, empowered, so we can do more given what we're facing right now. So I hope this session have taught you several things about working from home, maybe things that you'll be able to apply in your office or in your personal life. With that, I end this session, and watch out for the next episode. We'll have several more interesting topics to talk about. Pero for now, we'll have a break muna this Christmas, and then we'll start again next year. Again, if you have comments or suggestions, please feel free to comment and let us know, so we'll organize those new topics. That's all, and good night. Bye.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.